In this video, we are going to prepare a depreciation schedule using double declining balance method. So the double declining balance, by double declining, we just mean double the straight line rate, right? So double declining balance, DDB equals double the straight line rate. Alright, so straight line rate is 1 over useful life, right? So in this case we've got 4 years. So that's equal to, so the double declining balance, double declining balance is equal to 2 times 1/4, or a half, right? So that's the rate. The rate for double declining balance is 2 times 1/4 because it's 4 years. If this was 5 years, it would be 2 times 1/5. If this was 10 years, it would be 2 times 1/10. So that's not always 1/4. It's 2 times 1 over the number of years. In double declining balance, you start with the book value, apply the rate, and then then you get your depreciation expense. Then you get your new book value and start over again the next year until you get to the residual value. That's when you stop. So a lot of times it doesn't take the whole time to get to the residual value. Sometimes it does. It just depends. So the residual value is $30,000. So you would never depreciate it so that the book value was lower than $30,000, because that's its residual value. It means that's what you keep it at. So to do this, you start with the book value and apply the rate. So we bought a machine in January of 2017. Its book value is $330 because that's what we paid for it, right? Now at the end of the year, a whole year has gone by, so its book value before depreciation is $330. Now we're going to figure out the depreciation. So 2 times 1/4, or a half, is $165,000. And the reason we used half is because, well, it's 4 years. 2 times 1/4 is a half. If this had been 5, it would be 2 times 1/5. 2/5. 40%. All right, so that's how that works. Okay, so now accumulated depreciation is always, no matter what you're doing, is the previous accumulated depreciation plus the new expense. So we don't have any before, right? Which is our first year, so it's like 0 when you think about it. So 0 plus 165 is 165. Book value is always, whether it's double declining balance or straight line, as you've learned, book value is always cost minus accumulated depreciation. So in this case, cost minus accumulated depreciation is 165. And the only reason it looks like this is because that's a half, right? Half. So now, another year goes by. 165 times 2 1/4, or a half. So half of 165 is 82.5. All right, so that's my depreciation expense for the year 2018. My accumulated depreciation I have to add, right? It's my old accumulated depreciation plus my new depreciation expense. So 165,000 plus 82,500 is 247,500. Right? Book value is my cost minus accumulated depreciation. So 330,000 minus 247.5 is equal to $82,500. So another year goes by. I come down here. My book value is 82,500 times 2 1/4. Half of 82.5 is 41,250. My accumulated depreciation is now old accumulated plus my newest year, so 247.5 plus 41,250 is equal to 288,750, right? 330,000 minus 288,750 is equal to 41,250. All right. So that's still, we're not to 30,000, so we're going to keep going. 41,250. Now I'm not going to take the rate this time, because I look at this and I can see that if I take half of that, my residual value, right, if we're reducing this by half every time, right, I'm going to come up with less than 30,000. Right? So what I have to do is what they call plug. You know, whatever makes it the correct amount. So the correct amount is what I want here. So the correct amount, I need this to be 30,000. And the only reason I'm doing this is because I can tell by looking that if I just keep going the way I'm going, I'll be below 30. So I say, okay, well, I want this to be 30. So what's the difference between these two? What gets me from here to here? Right? Well, the difference between 41,250 and 30,000 is 11,250. Right? So I plug that number in there. It has nothing to do with the rate. And so now, 288,750 plus 11,250 is equal to 300. And that gives me my perfect book value. So getting down to the last part can be a little tricky. Sometimes you'll work through it and you'll end up less than it, and that's okay. You know, I can just tell by looking, but if you can't, that's okay. Work through it until you get there. Just never go below the residual value.